I mean, like,
Yeah, why you're running
what do
for
you want to know?
president, right?
Yeah, the write-in candidacy.
Tell me a little bit about how that came to be.
I just over there. Well, to me, like pretty much over the last 100 years, there's just been so many laws and regulations that have been put down on Americans, and I just felt like it's just pretty much has wiped away the Constitution. And politicians, every day want to say that they stand by the Constitution, but their actions and their passing of regulations or laws just speak otherwise.
Okay, what are some examples?
I mean, let's see. I mean, you pretty much every day can go and live your life, and then the next thing you know, somebody can be fined or prosecuted or put in jail for anywhere from not knowing they weren't allowed to own a certain type of gun anymore. Even freedom of speech at times, just like Loretta Lynch and Obama. They threatened to prosecute people for speaking down on Muslims or speaking against Muslims, especially after a terrorist attack. They're just, and truthfully, it's so hard to like answer that question because of so many. I mean, like it's just like you would have to sit down for no telling how long to read let's say the healthcare bill that's like 10,000 pages.
And
inside that healthcare law, there are just so many rules and regulations that you don't even know about, and again, it's just they don't even know. They just signed this bill just so they can start having power over our lives that you don't even realize what kind of power they have until you go to the doctor. That is a good example. So like doctors are now allowed to ask you when you go to go see them, as if, do you own a gun in your house? That's a prime example of the government doing everything they can, because you don't have to sign all your guns, especially in Texas. You don't have to tell them that you got a hand-me-down gun from your dad or anything like that. So what they do is they go, well, now the doctor's allowed to ask you, and if you answer that question, now we know that you own a gun.
Okay.
So that's a pretty good example.
Yeah, and when you go to the doctor's office, I'm calling you from Louisiana. So the rules are a little bit different. Anyway, I found out about your presidential bid because I listened to James' show. Get your ink. Best Buy. I will. My daughter wants me to get ink. We're going to probably have to edit this particular portion out, or everyone's going to know that Angela waited till the last minute to ask for ink. But no, anyway, I understand what you're saying. We both have kids, so anyway, I wanted to ask you about a few of the things you're going to do, but why don't you tell me a little bit? First of all, what did you have to do to become a write-in candidate? What are the requirements?
Okay, I actually looked that up the other day, and I mean, and that's another thing that bothers me before I answer that directly about the what else I'm going to have to do to even be qualified, because I could have everybody that listens to us on the radio vote me in, but because I did not go and sign up and get enough signatures.
You don't have the ballot access.
Exactly. They want my votes won't even count. And to me, I need to do more research on that, because I want to know. I mean, I'm sure there's always been a rule that you at least have to go sign up. But how can we live in the freest country, supposedly the freest country, and
okay, so get. What do you mean your votes won't count? What do you mean your votes won't count if if people vote for you? And let's say you get 100 votes or you get 10 votes. would that not be listed? So and so write-in candidate got this number of votes in Texas when they're listing everybody.
Yeah, and what I read the other day, yeah, and that's what I read the other day. The votes won't even count. I don't even think it will even show up that I was in the computers and whatever else they use to show who got a vote. My name won't even pop up.
How do you even write in a vote? Because usually when I go to vote, there's names. I punch a little button for the guy I want. I guess there's a spot for writing, but I've never actually written someone in.
Okay. So I know in Texas at least, you'll have all the names, and then at the bottom of that, you can scroll down with the little circular digital thing, and and you go down and you just go to write-in candidacy, and then you punch on that, and then you type in the person you want. That's how it is in Texas.
Well, I mean, there's like a keyboard where you could write in someone's name?
Yes. Yeah, ours is computers. So, like I said, there's a little circular device on the board, and then you use that to scroll down. Let's say you're going to vote for Trump, but then you keep scrolling, and there's a little box that says write-in candidacy, and you punch on that, and then you type in and write in the who you want to be president.
Did you have to pay any money to the state of Texas or to the federal government to run as a write-in candidate?
I haven't yet.
Okay, so there's no paperwork you had to file?
And so that's what I was going to get to also on that question you asked about what I need to do to be qualified, is that I have to go down to the government. I have to sign papers. Then I have to get ready for this. I have to get 78,000 registered voters to sign a petition that says for me to even qualify to even run for president. Registered voters. So
do they have to be in Texas, or could they be anywhere?
As it read, it didn't say specifically it had to be Texas. It could be anywhere.
Could it be?
It didn't say. I'm sorry.
Could it be online signatures, or does it have to be like handwritten? Does someone have to get some kind of a sheet, and then people have to physically sign it?
Yeah, from what I read, it didn't specifically say. It just said I needed 78,000 signatures. Well,
can you do that on the internet?
I'd have to do more research. I mean, like I said, just from what I read, it didn't say that it could be internet or not be internet.
Okay, well, I mean, if I'll sign your name, I'll sign my name so that you can vote. I mean, so you can run.
Okay.
What's the most important issue you think we're facing today?
Just every day the establishment every day is just speaking more and more against our rights, and I think eventually, if we keep going down the road of people voting in an Obama, a Hillary, Bernie Sanders, the left, then eventually they're just going to get what they want, because Obama has shown that. See, I truly believe we already live under the New World Order. If you watch even the right, like Paul Ryan, when he speaks, and he might say one thing, but his actions speak another. And so, like, they're against everything Obama wants. Let's say in a debt ceiling, but then they turn around and they sign it, and it's like, and to me, that just shows that we already live under the New World Order, because the establishment is just always together now. They might add. I think it's all a show. I think they all are just they know how easy it is for people these days to hear you say something and then just be blind to your actions. And I just think they're just going down the slip. And it's not just so. I just think they are all on the left now, and they are all just wanting so much power. And for them to get that power, they eventually will have to take away everything: our freedom of speech, our guns, and the things that protect us the most, because that's why they gave us the freedom of speech at first, because to be able to voice our opinion, to be able to voice when a politician or president or governor or whoever, whatever politician it is, we were able to speak up, and then more people can hear us speak up. But if you take away that freedom of speech, then the only people that do have the freedom of speech is the government, and then the only ones that do have the guns is the government. And then what else are we left to do other than just pretty much get on our knees and surrender?
Well, there's been a time in American history, probably more than once, but I know the Sedition Act of, I think it was 1918, took away your right to criticize the government during World War One, and it was repealed in 1920. But it's not like it's unheard of for even America to take away freedom of speech through times of war. Let me ask you: there's a lot of financial uncertainty. Have you studied any economics principles?
Well, truthfully, Heather, I try to keep things as basic as possible, and I really truly believe that that's what America was supposed to be about. Because freedom is not should not be complicated. It's supposed to be the easiest thing in the world, and so even with economics, I mean, the thing that has made economics so difficult, once again, just like everything that makes everything difficult, is the government, or makes more things more difficult, or makes it more difficult is the government. We should have the freedom to make our own lives, whatever I choose for myself, to be difficult. And so if I'm having economic problems, it should be because I'm having economic problems because of how I spend my money and how I choose to spread my money. Not because of how the government sees fit how I spread my money and how I spend my money, and especially with taxes and raising or I think today our taxes are too high. I'm paying 15% in taxes, and me and my family are barely making it. And I ain't gonna lie to you, we make pretty good money. The thing that is holding us back a little bit is I love to spend my money. I would love more to spend though, but the government takes so much of our money.
Yeah, they take it from the front end. They take it before you get to see it, and then when you go to spend it, they take it again.
Exactly.
And then when you're saving it at the end of the year, they tax your interest and make it so that it really makes sense to spend all your money and have no savings. And I know that it's a governmental organization, it's .org, but feedthepig.org. I wonder how much the taxpayers are paying for that initiative we hear on the radio all the time.
There's no telling.
And well, let me ask you. I know that we discussed on Facebook a little bit about a variety of bailouts. I know that there's several cities have been in such financial disarray that they've had to reorganize through Chapter 9, similar to the way the car company, the auto manufacturers had to. Right now, Puerto Rico is looking at a major bailout, and that's in the House right now. Do you think Paul Ryan is in favor of that or not in favor of that? I'm just curious where you think he stands.
I think he's going to say he's not in favor for it, but then turn right around and sign it, and have his quote unquote GOP sign it and sign off on it.
Well, he's actually I think said that he is in favor of it, and he's working across the aisle with Democrats to make it happen. But it's not really a bailout. It's something other than a bailout that looks like a bailout and smells like a bailout and walks like a bailout, but it's not a bailout. How would you deal with municipal dysfunction, financial?
What exactly do you mean? I mean, like.
Okay, well, well, Puerto Rico is a commonwealth, so they don't have the same legal abilities to restructure as, let's say, any state. But for that matter, if a state is unable to pay its bills and comes to the federal government and says, we need some money to pay our bills, how would you handle that as president?
I'm telling you, I was raised to, I just say tough it out. I mean, the best solution for anything is to believe in your citizens to to work it out. And the reason there are these mistakes, the reason there is even these mistakes in the first place, is because of government decisions, because of government regulations, because of government telling you how where this money is going to go, and them spending the money, and it's the government's fault. And so people look to them to say, well, since it's y'all's fault, then y'all need to be the one to fix it. When I think that it's a perfect time, like during the last recession, right before Obama took office, it was the perfect time to just for all of us to rise up and to say enough is enough. We're taking back our country, and we're gonna do this ourselves, and we can do this ourselves, and we are capable of doing this ourselves, and we're gonna choose to feed each other. We're gonna choose to help each other, the ones that need help, until we get out of this. But there's just so many people now so dependent on the government that it's so hard for us to all come together and to push the government back and to get out of our lives. And I know that people would spit on me if I was to get up on a podium and say that, or half the people in this nation would spit on me if I was to get up and say something like that, because they're just so dependent on the government. But that's just how I was raised. I'm somebody that if I get knocked down, I get back up on my own. I remember my dad, when I played sports and he used to coach me and stuff like that, he used to have to come out on the field and drag me off. I mean, my leg would have to be would have to be twisted for me to get off that field. I mean, that's what I believe in. You just get up and you do it on your own, not the government, not a system that tells you that the only way for you to accomplish anything, to have anything, is for us to give it to you. And I just believe in just toughing it out.
I hear you. And what do you do? What do you do for a living now? What kind of work do you do?
Right now, I deliver chicken to we have a place called Bush's Chicken here it's all around Texas now. It goes as far as El Paso and down to Victoria, Texas. Hold on 1 second, I'm sorry. And then my wife, she works for her brother-in-laws. She works for her brothers, and they own one of the Bushes here in Waco, and then they own the one over in El Paso. And so that's what we do. We just work for the Bushes Corporation.
So is she excited about being First Lady? Did you tell her she could get her own makeup artist?
Yeah, well, she don't even wear makeup.
Come on now. The taxpayers are going to be paying for her makeup.
No. No. She is. That's one thing I love about her. She is so understandable about just not, I mean, like, I'm surprised how much she's jumping on board on this. I mean, I know that it's far-fetched that I'm even going to be capable of winning. I'm just trying to make noise, and I'm trying to wake people up. And
I hear you, and I think your message is awesome. I know that you're a small guy out of Waco, Texas. I don't know if you're actually in Waco, Texas. I guess it's a suburb of. But I love hearing you on the radio. I think you make excellent points on James' show. By the way, that's James Parker Show, 12:30 a.m. And if anyone else listening to this hasn't heard it, I'll listen to him on iHeart. Let me ask you this. If you become president, okay, I know it's a hypothetical, but if you become president, are you going to get his show syndicated to D.C.?
Say that one more time.
I said if you become president and you have to live at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, are you going to get his show syndicated? I mean, as a president, you probably would have that power.
Yeah, I mean, I would. Whoever helped me out through this whole thing, I would very much. I don't want to say I'd be biased or anything like that. I guess I would be by definition, but
no. But I mean, if his show could be on so that all the other senators and representatives there in Washington, D.C. were able to hear James Parker, we can make some real difference in America.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
So that's a yes. I'm not affiliated with his show. I'm just a fan. But
no, I just trying to stay away from the the favoritism that politicians do these days and stuff like that. I don't want to get in there and just be like, you know. But no, I see where you're coming from, and I very much so would would syndicate James Parker and now you for doing this for me and anybody else that just
I'm not looking for any favors, and in fact we're just doing this podcast.
Not what?
I'm not looking for any favors. I said I'm not looking for any favors from you, but I really appreciate it. But yeah, no, I'm not. I'm asking
you. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's kind of breaking out.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
There it goes.
Yeah, okay, excellent. But no, okay, so we definitely know James' show will get syndicated. That's one reason to vote for you. And I want it syndicated in New Orleans too. That's all I'd be asking for, so I could hear traffic and not have to listen to Waco traffic. But no, I had a few other quick questions. Mainly, what about other political?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Heather?
Yes, can you hear me?
I'm gonna.
You want me to call you back?
No, I can hear you now.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you: after this presidential campaign, are you looking at any other bids for office? Are you considering something local?
I've been giving it a lot of thought. It just really just depends what's going on in I guess anybody's life, personal life. But yeah, I've given it thought and everything. And Waco's a pretty big, pretty democratic. So it'd be pretty tough to accomplish anything here. Not that I'm not willing to fight for it. As you know, I'm always speaking my opinion and going up like I did the other day to my school and finding out what's going on with this mandate on bathroom laws and stuff like that. And I know that's just one part of the puzzle, but so I guess to answer your question, I guess yes. I would love to start toward maybe being more serious candidate to not just locally, but and start somewhere, and then maybe eventually, you never know, I could be president one day.
I think you could. I think you have great ideas, and I think you have a passion for it. I look forward to seeing from you and hearing from you in the future. We're going to be putting this. We're going to put together a podcast. I'll probably send this to Beth. She works with me on this. It's actually more her stuff than mine, but she was tied up on some other issues right now. So I'm going to get her together, and we'll go ahead and we're going to probably edit it some and then put it up, and I'll send it to you beforehand. But if at any time you want to give me a call and weigh in on something, feel free. I'd love to hear from you. And it's great talking to you.
You too, Heather. And I do want to point out, because I know that there's times like, it happens to me all the time, and people just are like, I think you brought it up just a minute ago too about, in a way that I don't sound very intellectual when it comes to certain questions and stuff like that, or the words I use and stuff. I'm just sick and tired of the complications. So I just try to just keep it as simple as possible to try to make people understand. Why throw fancy words out there to manipulate people, and why throw fancy solutions out there to manipulate people? I just want to keep it basic. And when you read the Constitution, it's very fine and simple, and that's what I agree. I learned.
I didn't mean to make, if I had said anything, I like the way you talk. I think plain talk is probably the best talk. I kind of feel like we should pass, not that we should need to pass more laws, but our laws should be written in less than 6 pages and at an 8th grade level, so everybody reads and understands, and including our senators and representatives, before they sign the bills. It's frustrating that some of them are so long that nobody reads it, and it just gets passed, and then all of a sudden, like you had pointed out earlier, you're breaking a law that nobody knew existed. And, of course, our saying is, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Well, if you don't know that their laws exist because it's written in the middle of a 1,000-page bill, then how could you expect people not to be criminals? at every moment of their life.
Exactly, and then they'll write a bill. Let's say, I don't know, the roads need to be fixed, but then further down the bill, there's something else included that has nothing to even do about the roads. And people are like, well, why didn't they vote for that bill? Well, because not only did it say to fix the roads, but it also said to, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a more serious.
No, I understand. Like it gives money to education where they're letting some extreme leftist group come in and teach your kids, and or extreme right-wing group, which should be, school should be relatively non-political, although it's kind of hard for, a human being to teach a class and they have their personal opinions and they're going to somehow infiltrate. I mean, you got to somewhat have free speech. Or no, you have to actually have free speech, but you and I both know that there's a lot that goes on within education and within the bills. Bills should be single issue only, and they should be very short and easy to read. I mean, our Constitution was less pages. How long was the Constitution? And that set up the foundation for our government, which tends to be more and more pages. I think our founding fathers would be rolling in their graves.
Right, and and that's another thing I was going to say about regulations and laws, about them making the Constitution irrelevant. I believe that the regulations and laws over the past 100 years have become pretty much the new Constitution for the establishment, and so that's why, like I said, there are just so many times when you're in trouble for something that you thought was a freedom that was given to you in the original Constitution. Oh, no sir. This new regulation says you can't go by the president and scream your opinion or scream out how you feel about him, because that's against the law now. And it's like, well, then it doesn't say that in the original Constitution that I can't say what I want about the president 10 feet of. I don't know if have you ever read that? Did you know that was passed a few years ago?
I don't. I know that there's certain limitations to freedom of speech, which would include slander, yelling fire in a crowded theater,
right.
Certain issues like that. And I don't have a problem with those laws being on the books and people not being able to just lie about you and say. But apparently people can lie. I mean, look at all of these hoax cases where people's lives have been turned upside down and ruined because individuals lie, and there's no penalty for that. But
yeah, and I'm for that too. I mean, I don't think you should be able to just go out and say what you want and it hurts somebody's reputation and stuff like that, especially when it's a lie and all that. What I'm saying is that, and again, there's just so many things out there on the internet that it could have been. I could have swore I read it in a news thing where the president signed an amendment, or I don't want to say amendment, but signed some type of law that says that when you're within a certain amount of feet from him, you can speak your opinion about how you don't like his law that he just made. Let's say the bathroom law, and holler it out to him, but you're not allowed to say that you think that he's a piece of crap.
You suck, President Obama.
Exactly, yeah. And so that I guess he's trying to say that that's kind of a threat, and you might be a threat, so you need to be taken care of, and you might even be penalized or prosecuted for doing that.
Yeah, I hear you.
I think that that's not those type of opinions, I think, are freedoms. And,
oh yeah, as long as you're not threatening him, it should be okay.
Exactly.
I mean, obviously, when you make a verbal threat or a physical threat, that's a threat. So yeah, there should be limitations at that. But short of that, you should be able to let the president know your feelings. And if the president should have a thick enough skin that people should be able to make fun of him, and he should be able to laugh at it and say, "Oh yeah, that was funny," or "I didn't really like that, but maybe you make a point." You're the leader of the free world. You gotta be able to take a little bit of criticism.
And you know what? Along with Obama and along with all the other politicians, they are all cowards now. They won't sit down with the Waylon Calloway and let him ask the certain questions that need to be asked, or bring out the certain facts over and over again to them, because they're just cowards like that. And And instead, they're gonna remember the other day, or it might have been yesterday. I told you, asked me, well, what do you want asked, or what do you want to talk about? And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna be like that. I would not be like that. I'm not gonna sit down and be like, here's the questions you can ask me. Here's what we're gonna talk about. And if you do ask me this, then the interview's over. No,
that wasn't even my intention. My intention was to sort of gear some of the questions towards some of the issues you find most important, and whether that's free speech, the environment, gun rights, which I've got to put mine on this when I left to go get ink. But education, free education, $15 an hour minimum wage, all of it. I mean, we don't have time to cover everything this time, but I want to hear more. I want to hear more from you in the future, and I'm gonna let you take it easy. What show are you doing? That you had sent me a message about money something.
Yeah, Moneymaker 254, or it might be 254 Moneymaker. But or if you just put in Moneymaker, you'll probably be able to find it on Ustream. But well, my friend, it's his show, but he does it once a week. I do it as much as possible. And it's just a fun show. I mean, like is
it video or audio?
It's video.
Oh, cool! So I get to actually see what you look like, because I hear you on the radio all the time. I never.
Oh, great. And so yeah, and we just all have our different personalities. Obviously, I'm a wild, crazy political guy that, and then I can't say our real names. They don't like to. So Moneymaker, he's the one that does the show, and he's just a fun, wild guy. And then the other two are just kind of quiet and sometimes throw in their opinions and what they have to say. But it's mainly Moneymaker show, and then he'll be like, all right, it's your turn, Waylon. You can go off on Obama or Muslims or terrorists. So,
what do you think is the most important issue facing America in the 2016 through 2020?
The most important? Oh, man. I mean, just I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I think the most important thing we are facing is our government. And it just is. I mean, they're not doing enough to keep us safe, and they're not doing enough to keep the world safe. And I truly believe that we are, quote unquote, the policemen of the world. We are. When you have people doing things like ISIS is doing, like yesterday, man, you're gonna get me started, Heather. Like yesterday, they were like, and this is the military guys saying this also, but they sound like puppets to Obama, and they're like, oh, well, we're killing the ISIS leaders. No, you kill all of ISIS, because if that leader's killed, there's somebody else that's going to take his spot.
Yeah.
People, they believe they don't need a leader to tell them to believe. Their leader is the Quran. Their leader is Muhammad. Just like our leader is, quote unquote, our leader is Jesus. If you're a Christian, their leader is Muhammad, and Muhammad teaches to kill in the name of Islam. If you don't believe in what they believe in, you're dead. They don't need a specific live today leader to tell them that. They already believe that. And I just believe that our safety, not only from ISIS, but from our government. I know our government's not going out and shooting Waylon Callaways in the head because of what I'm doing every day on the James Parker Show, or on the show I'm about to do, or just on Facebook. I know they're not doing that, but they're doing it. They are doing it somewhat, because they're going to eventually. I really do believe
they're enabling criminals. They're enabling criminals to blame bad behavior on things that happened 100 years ago, and they have students brainwashed into thinking that they're victims when they're not. They have people believe the Black Lives Matter group that thinks that, hey, it's cool to go kill people as long as, they're white. That's that may not be the government doing it, but it's the government not. It's like if your kid did something bad and you didn't punish him for it, you would be in trouble for enabling the child eventually.
Exactly. Or finding an excuse of why it's okay for them to do it. Oh, it was all right for Black Lives Matter to go do what they did or to go kill a cop.
Go ahead and give them room to destroy a city of people who did nothing to them, because they're unhappy with some decision that somebody else completely arbitrarily made. And there's the calm that used to exist in this country seems to be going away. When we had a president that would say, okay, now let's all, he was a father sort of figure and not enabling bad guys, but said, let's all calm down. Y'all dumbasses who are rioting, quit it, or we're going to tear gas your asses, and you'll have something to cry about. You know.
And so like, so when I say the establishment, I do include groups like Black Lives Matter. I do include other groups that are far left. I count them as the establishment because, they, like you were just saying, the establishment enables them and pretty much supports them.
Do you think include Republicans in the establishment?
Oh yeah, when I say establishment, I mean the whole establishment. I am against DC at this moment. I'm ready for them to just get the hell out of there. And that's why you need to get James Parker syndicated in DC. If some of these people in their limos could listen to James for 5 minutes, maybe they'd understand. Right, I know, I hear you. Hey, yeah, they keep looking out the door. I think they want me to get in there.
All right, yeah, I've got to get in too. I've got to buy that ink for my daughter.
Oh, okay.
It was good talking to you. Keep in touch.
All right, you too.
All right, bye-bye.